Today I'm talking about the aftermath of a marathon that goes horribly wrong. So I ran Loch Ness marathon yesterday, and today I try to dissect what happened and try and put some perspective around how the outcome prevailed. So yeah, keep watching, keep listening if you're a marathon runner in particular, or you're looking to get into marathon running, so you can kind of get an understanding about the emotions involved. Thank you as always, let's get started. Welcome back to consecutive day 1583 for Diary of a Runpreneur. If you believe in my mission of saving the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, distance of a lap of the world, barefoot style, then do give this a subscribe, share, like and comment. The more people we get in front of, more money we raise, more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. Thank you as always, and let's get started. So, consecutive day 1583 for Diary of a Runpreneur, and today's episode I'm talking about the emotions, or the raw emotions of the aftermath of a marathon that doesn't go to plan. So fairly obviously the reason for the topic is, yes, I was running a marathon yesterday, and yes, I am incredibly sore, as you can probably tell from my running style today, as I'm running at 6 minute 50 kilometre pace. So it's incredibly slow for what I would normally run, but it's a recovery run, so I'm just trying to get some oxygenated blood through my sore and tired muscles. So it was the Baxter's Loch Ness Marathon 2024 yesterday that I ran in. I possibly went into it a little bit complacent because it is a net downhill marathon. So you start, it's a point-to-point marathon, you start high up and you end lower down. Obviously in the Highlands of Scotland, on the banks of Loch Ness, it's not just a nice, gentle kind of downward slope from the start to the finish. No, you get quite a lot of downhill, then you get some pretty significant uphill, then some more downhill, then some uphill, then some more downhill, but the overarching trend is downhill. So I came into this marathon in pretty good shape. I was expecting a personal best. My previous personal best was 3 hours 24 minutes and 48 seconds, and I was expecting to be well under that because the PB I got at the Yorkshire Marathon, which was last October, I also had a pretty significant blistering issue which materialised at about mile 20, and I still managed to get through that for the last 10k. So what went wrong in this marathon? I ended up finishing the marathon in 3 hours and 48 minutes, which, you know what, I am on reflection now pretty proud of. When I had with the adversity I had to overcome during that race. Yes, initially I did a kind of a social media vlog or a post straight after the finish line, and yes, I was gutted. I was almost embarrassed, and I had of the result. And I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way, shape, or form to any marathon runner who finishes a marathon. Gets huge respect from my eyes, but for me, I had my heart and mind fixated on this personal best, possibly an outside shot at a 3 hour 15 marathon, which was ultimately what my main target is at this moment in time, because it qualifies me for Chicago, which is one of the major marathons. And I felt in good enough shape. So started the marathon, and it's downhill for the first 4 miles before you get quite significant uphill. Now, I should have probably known when I came through the first 5k in under 21 minutes that I was probably letting my legs go too much, because I've always taught with downhill, let your legs go. Now, within reason, that is right, but if you've got any form of you're going too quick and you're not completely letting yourself go, and you couldn't let yourself go completely because it was so steep and such a long way, you'd just be massively out of control. Now, fell runners might be able to do that, but I'm not a fell runner. So I let my legs go as much as I could, but to the detriment of my quads and the soles of my feet, because the quicker you're going, the more impact that's shooting through my feet, and the more impact that my quads are having to absorb to keep me remotely in control. Now, the downside of that is when you're in barefoot or running footwear, you get no kind of cushioning in your feet, so your feet take an absolute hammering. Whereas if I was in, some of these kind of Nike Vaporflies, Nike Alpha Flies, or there's a new Adidas brand that you've got so much cushioning, it's like running on a mattress. Probably fine. You can just completely let yourself go and spring down them. Not in barefoot running. And I knew then I had an uphill at at 5 miles, 5 to about 6 miles was a pretty significant uphill after a lot of downhill running, and I knew then that my legs felt like they'd been through a lot more than 5 miles worth of activity. So the warning signs were there. Then, lo and behold, after 7 miles, the recurrence of the blister that almost ended my Yorkshire. And yeah, I knew once half marathon, I thought that the time's going to go. Even though I'm still well on, I had to relinquish the dream of hitting the time and just focus on, do you know what, it's going to be a real issue here, a real mission to finish. So lo and behold, the second half of the marathon was a long one. It was a long one. It was over 2 hours. 2 hours. If I came through it, it was 2 hours and 15 minutes with the second half marathon, when the first one was an hour 33. So you can clearly see how much I dropped off. Sorry about the wind, incredibly windy today. And yeah, it was, I had to stop at the medical stops at each one. I think there was 3 stops when my feet were getting strapped up and protected as best we could. And I just limp run through to the finish. But I'm still incredibly proud, because that half marathon is probably the hardest run I've done since my first ever London marathon, where I collapsed with heat exhaustion from hitting the wall at about 20, well, I hit the wall about 18 miles I think on that one, and nothing will top that. But this was a very close second. That half marathon with severely injured feet, I had blisters all over them, bruising. It was really, really grim. To get through half marathon, it was an immense achievement, and to still come in at, do you know what, 3 hours 48, still a pretty respectable time in any way, shape or form. So I will take pride from that. I'm just going to pass some people, so bear with me. Evening. So yeah, so the aftermath of the event, I was down, I was because I think what frustrates you when things don't go your way on a marathon is the amount of work and effort that's gone into preparing just to getting to the start line, for things not to go as you planned, the cost implications, the training implications, the sacrifices you've made to get to that start line in a condition to have a pop at a really good marathon time is it's heartbreaking when things don't go your way. And it's quite emotional as well, because your body is so depleted during marathons, is you kind of become very emotional at the end. And that's how I felt. I felt very down in the doldrums. But upon further reflection, I think you learn a lot more from your failures than you do from your successes. And there were certainly a lot of learning points from that. Certainly with regards to downhill running and the impact of muscle fatigue on downhill. It speeds up the muscle fatigue quite significantly. I was speaking to a guy who'd run a 3 hour, 4 minute marathon, and he finished the marathon, he's just been injured, so he's on recovery. He finished it at 3 hours 40. And he said, yes, and he's done fell running. He says, yeah, you've got to be really, really careful on downhill parts to if you can't fully let yourself go, you almost want to take it slower, reducing the impact on your quads feet, calves, everything that kind of goes with it, because you will pay the price for muscle fatigue. And I think ultimately that was part of the issue, but mainly it was the blistering and the bruising of my feet, which caused all the concern. So what did I learn? I think the learnings from my diary for today are that downhill running, so if you're looking at running marathons and there's quite a significant amount of downhill within it, learn how to run downhill. You have to let yourself go fully or control yourself for minimum impact. Otherwise, it greatly accelerates muscle fatigue, because it's basically you're using your quads, your calves, you know, as brakes, and your feet. So you're putting so much kind of force through them to slow the pace when momentum is taking you quicker. And the impact of that and how much acceleration it has on muscle fatigue is extreme. So I've learned that. Secondly, I'll look at further blistering preventative measures. I think I used a lot of lubricant. I used Body Glide specifically for the feet on this occasion. I've used Vaseline to good effect in the past, but I don't like the kind of greasiness that Vaseline leaves, so I didn't use Vaseline. I may go back to Vaseline for the next marathon, or I may use Compeed blister plasters in advance of the areas that I know are potentially liable to get blistering. I don't know about that. I've also been looking into various kind of chemical kind of resins and things that you can use to harden your skin on your feet to prevent, on a temporary basis, to prevent blistering issues. So I'm going to look into all these things and try and find a solution. I think the next one will probably be, I don't think I would have experienced, I think I probably would have even been alright with the foot glide, the Body Glide, foot glide version, if it was a flat marathon. But inevitably there was just too much up and down, which ultimately took its toll. So yeah, a lot to be learned, but I'm sure I'll be better prepared for the next one. So all I've got to say for that is onwards and upwards, and we learn more from our failures than we do from our successes. And any questions or comments, drop me a line. I'll respond to everyone. But I'm certainly looking into marathons for spring 2025, and Paris and possibly Edinburgh are high on the agenda at the moment. So yeah, watch this space and hopefully we'll come back stronger. That's it for me. Any questions or comments, drop me a line. I'll respond to everyone. Do remember though, if you believe in my mission of saving the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon of run vlogging on consecutive days, distance of a lap of the world barefoot style, do give this a subscribe, share, like and comment. More people we get in front of, more money we raise, more children's lives we save, which is why I do this every single day. Thank you as always. Stay positive, stay happy. See you.